you? Okay, so what do you want? I'm here to tax you. Tax me? For what? Launching your drone. What? That's ridiculous. And where did you plan on landing your drone? Well, just over there near those pavilions. Yeah, there's gonna be a tax on that too. Wait, since when did they start taxing drone pilots? Asking questions? There's a tax on that. But I don't understand. Objecting? There's a tax on that too. Look, buddy, come on, just... Is that bribery? I'll have to tax that. Tell me, did you plan on operating your drone here the entire time? Why? Is there a tax on that too? Of course not. Don't be ridiculous. All right, well, I guess that's a relief. There's a fee on that. But that's not up to me. That's up to my colleague, Fee-Man. What's up? It's Chris, the Drone Geek, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Drones. Today we're going to be discussing the absolute bombshell dropped by the fine folks at AirMap on Twitter just a few days ago. But before we get into that, I did want to make a quick announcement. The Let's Talk Drones podcast will be delayed by at least a couple of weeks. I had a few guests that I had lined up for the first few episodes, and due to some scheduling conflicts, they've had to reschedule with me. So until I get them all sorted out, I won't be publishing any episodes of the Let's Talk Drones podcast, so I'm sorry for the delay, but it is coming. I promise 2021 is the year that we're going to start the podcast. Sorry, there's really nothing I can do to change what's happened. Just got to roll with the punches. If you've been flying drones for a while, then you probably already know who AirMap is. If you're new to drones, or maybe you just don't know who AirMap is, let me lay it out for you. AirMap was one of the leading apps for low altitude authorization and checking airspace in your immediate area. Most drone pilots had AirMap on their mobile device so they could readily check the airspace around them and where they can fly, where they need permission to fly, and where they absolutely can't fly. I had it on my mobile device and I loved it. It worked so well, and I used it on numerous occasions, especially when I was in an area I wasn't super familiar with. But as great as that sounds, they found themselves in the crosshairs of the drone community, particularly those people that fly recreationally. But I think it's safe to say that everybody can agree the tweets that were sent out were absolutely ridiculous. Yes, once again, Twitter is at the center of controversy. Go figure. AirMap proposed on their official Twitter account that it might be a good idea to impose taxes and fees on drone pilots for launching, landing, and operating their drones. Sounds ridiculous? That's because it is, but it's the truth. Here are the tweets to prove it. The first in this series of 3 tweets was sent at 2:30 p.m. on January 21st of this year. It reads, "State, local, and tribal governments have always had the authority to regulate UAS takeoff and landing via their zoning authority and police powers, but they may want to do more to enable safe drone use in their communities." A continuation of that tweet was sent out at 2:35 p.m. of the same day, which reads, "With a UTM system, which stands for Unmanned Aircraft Traffic Management System, state, local, and tribal authorities can gain visibility into nearby drone operations and publish airspace restrictions and notices to drone operators. These rules will be tiered according to the levels of authority within the UTM system." At this point in the tweet stream, AirMap has not said anything that is not true. And they also have not gotten to the point where they recommend imposing taxation or fees on drone pilots for operating their drone. It is 100% fact that the FAA is the only government entity that can police and regulate what airspace you fly your drone in. They're the ones that have the final say when it comes to navigating airspace. However, it is true that local entities such as the local police, the state police, other federal agencies, government entities, they all can tell you where you can launch, land, and operate your drone. I found that more often than not, you won't get a lot of trouble from local, state, and federal entities not named the FAA for flying your drone wherever you like, as long as you're doing it in a safe manner. However, that's not always the case, and sometimes drone operation, launching, and landing is not allowed in certain places. this. Keep in mind, in these cases, at the bare minimum, you're going to be asked to bring your drone down and leave the area, and at the maximum, you could face fines or even jail time. But enough about that. Let's move on to the third and final tweet in this series sent out by AirMap that truly got them into quite a bit of trouble. On January 22nd at 2:30 p.m., exactly 24 hours after those previous two tweets were sent, AirMap tweeted out, "Drone technology offers economic benefits. Governments can create new revenue streams that support UTM services like taxation and takeoff and landing fees. They can also design incentive programs that encourage UAS and AAM businesses to locate in their communities." What? It's like reading those tweets took me back to my college days of scrolling through Twitter late at night or my text messages late at night and seeing all of the ridiculous shit that was being sent by people that were out there drunk tweeting, drunk texting, drunk posting, you name it. There are a few things that popped through my head after reading this. The first one is the AirMap social media person drunk tweeting from the AirMap account at 2:30 in the afternoon? If so, why was it happening at 2:30 in the afternoon? Was there a company mixer? Did somebody get into the employee beverages a little bit early? What's the deal? Next, does this social media person need an intervention? Do we need to actually talk to them about responsible drinking and on-the-job drinking and things that could really negatively impact their career? And my final thought was, did Donald Trump get a hold of AirMap's Twitter account?
When I can reach that many people, Twitter is a wonderful thing for me because I get the word out.
All right, I don't care where you stand politically. That was not meant to be a jab at anybody in particular, just poking a bit of fun. It wasn't until about the fifth thought that I think I came to the conclusion that most closely resembles the truth. This is a company that's trying to put itself in good position with the United States government, particularly the FAA, while also trying to make a quick buck. It's no mystery that apps like AirMap and Kitty Hawk and many, many others have been helping the FAA to develop an unmanned aircraft traffic management system. And let me be quite frank, that is something we absolutely need, and it's something that is inevitably on the way. I don't think that people should be charged to use the UTM because it will be something that will be mandatory for drone pilots to operate their drones, but I do think the system itself needs implemented. You can't tell me that companies like AirMap aren't trying to jockey for position to be the FAA's preferred partner when it comes to developing this UTM. And I think this was a power play by AirMap that backfired terribly because now they are the centerpiece for drone pilots as it relates to oppressive behavior when dealing with the drone community. AirMap, whether it's intentional or unintentional, has put themselves at the forefront when it comes to companies that don't give a shit about the well-being of drone pilots. Look, a lot of us used AirMaps and some of us still do. I know I used to. I loved their app. But as soon as I saw this, I took the following action. And like I've said, in my opinion, and remember, opinions are like everybody has one, they all stink. We need a UTM system. I won't argue with that. However, we don't need the monetization of that UTM system because that's only going to accomplish two things. One, it's going to crush the hobby side of the drone industry. People that fly for fun and recreation, those folks are not going to fly anymore because it's only going to be an additional cost in a hobby that is already exceedingly expensive. And number two, those of us that fly drones commercially are going to look at this as a cost-prohibitive behavior. Do we really want to fly our drones when we're going to have to pay additional taxes and fees just to put them in the air? It's going to be something we have to give a lot of thought to, and for those of us that might not have as many jobs coming in per month as we would like, it is going to have some major implications when it comes to running our business. And that scenario is precisely what AirMap proposed in their latest series of tweets. Now, those tweets have since been deleted. I want to remind the fine folks over at AirMap that once something is on the internet, it's there forever and it's not going away. There are thousands of screenshots of these tweets circulating the internet, and until they come out and explicitly take the stance that they are for free, untaxed drone operations, they are going to be on the drone community's list.
Why? Because them, that's why.
It's important that we remind those private companies that are helping to make the decisions with how to manage air traffic at the very top that without us, they're nothing. They don't even exist. And until their stance changes publicly, I just want to make it known I do not endorse AirMap. In fact, I discourage the use of AirMap, again, until they change their stance publicly. And just as another reminder, I don't think I need to spell it out for those of you that have been flying drones for a while, but if you're new to flying drones, or maybe you're just not as familiar with the rules as you should be, here's a few things to remember. Oh, let me pull up a whiteboard just because that'll be easier. Number 1, the only governing body that dictates the use and accessibility of airspace owned by the United States of America is the Federal Aviation Administration. Number 2, there is no fee to fly your drone aside from those required to register it with the FAA if applicable and become licensed if you intend on flying your drone commercially. And number 3, the only power a local, state, or federal entity not named the FAA can wield against a drone pilot is where you are allowed to launch, operate, and land your drone. It is critical to the life of this hobby and this profession that we keep monetization out of the operation of your drone. There cannot be any taxes or fees associated with launching, landing, or operating a drone in the United States of America. It will destroy the hobby. And for those of you that fly commercially, that's money directly out of your pocket. That's on top of the fact that they taxed you and charged you fees to fly your drone just so you could make money. Do you want to make a direct impact on the development of UTM right now? Well, it's really easy. All you have to do is pull up your phone, find your AirMap app if you have it, and delete it. Let them know that this is not okay and that we will not stand for any type of taxation or fee on the operation of drones. That's the only way to send that signal as strongly as you can. AirMap is a private company. If you take money out of their pocket in response to a stance that they've taken, they will then retract that stance and change it to appease you. Because as of right now, we are the reason that AirMap even exists. There's a demand, they supplied it. If there's no more demand, they can't supply anything, which means they're not making any money. And if you only used AirMap to check your airspace for where you can and cannot fly without authorization, there are plenty of alternatives out there. In fact, I've got a list of a few that have either A, not taken a stance on this particular topic, or B, have taken a counter stance and encourage that all drone operation be free and untaxed. Once again, let's pull up a whiteboard. The other 4 apps that I use when it comes to checking my airspace before launching my UAS are Before You Fly, Hover, UAV Forecast, and kittyhawk.io. And let me be totally clear, I'm not trying to be the revolutionary rabble-rouser that leads the charge on this particular issue. In fact, that's not a responsibility I'm even ready for. All I want to do is use my platform to spread the word that something incredibly unethical and, quite frankly, unjust could be put into motion if we don't pay attention. It is up to us to make sure we're keeping the people at the top of the drone industry in check. AirMap is just one example. That doesn't mean that others won't come out in support of it. We need to make sure we pay attention to which companies support drone pilots and which ones support making money off of drone pilots, because there is a distinct difference. Support the ones that support us and make sure that you boycott the ones that don't support us and just want our money. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. That helps me out a lot as we are on the quest to 1,000 subscribers. I've been sort of stuck at a plateau between 738 and 742. I'd like to break through that if I can, so your help will be greatly appreciated. And before we wrap things up, I do want to make my shout out for this particular video. I've expanded it beyond YouTube. I'm also reaching in to my Instagram because I find a lot of folks that use drones on Instagram don't necessarily have a YouTube channel and vice versa. So I'd like to bring everybody into the fold. This week's shout out goes to Bailey Jordan. Bailey is based out of Arizona and she's a photographer by trade, but she does some amazing work and she includes drones in almost all of the shoots that she does. She's not on YouTube, but she does have a fantastic Instagram profile and I highly recommend you check that out after watching this video. Check her out on Instagram at Bailey Jordan. I'm gonna have her link to her profile in the description below. This is your second reminder. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you like this video, you're already subscribed, tell 2 friends to subscribe and hit that like button as well. Again, it helps me out tremendously. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris, the Drone Geek, and I am out of here.
Twitter is a wonderful thing for me. Twitter is a wonderful thing for me. Twitter is a wonderful thing for me. When I can reach that many people, Twitter is a wonderful thing for me because I get the word out.